Hi, my name is Patrick, and I'd like to give you an overview of how to play School Life. This can be played by between 2 and 8 players, and is an entertaining way for students to realize how important their education is and how it gives them opportunities in the workplace and in higher education. Especially to understand how important some of the subjects that they may not like can actually help them out in their lives later down the road. Let's take a look at the game. You have pawns that the players will use to move around the board, and you have corresponding pawn colors in both the school and the life section. The first 3 rounds are lived entirely in the school section, so let's focus on that first. On your turn, a player will move their pawn between 5 and 7 spaces. It's their choice and it's up to them, but it has to be between 5 and 7. Ideally, they'll end up their turn in any one of the classrooms that you can see on the board. And then, after living in a classroom for a turn, then they will acquire the education listed there. So for instance, if on my turn I can start and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and end up in history, then at the end of my turn I can mark off on my sheet that I have acquired an education in history. And then I will have that for the course of the game. It's advantageous to acquire as many different subjects as possible in this section of the board so that it'll aid you in your career as you move into the life section later on. But during your first 3 rounds, you're only in the school section. So on your turn, again, on my next turn I can move between 5 and 7 more spaces. So I could move back to the center and move up to this level, or I could move towards this direction. It's entirely up to me. It depends on what subjects I think are most important to have and how I can best plan my routes through my school career. As players are moving around the board, if they happen to both be in the hallway, you are not allowed to move past the other player's pawn. So if I was coming out of history and I wanted to go in this direction, I'd only be able to go 1, 2, and then I'd be forced to stop there, even though I haven't completed my 5 to 7 moves. On my next turn or my opponent's next turn, either of us is able to move freely after pausing to meet each other in the hallway. Each player will also have 2 of these tokens, which you can use to send to other opponents to the principal's office. On your turn, if you want, just place it under any other pawn that is on the board wherever they're at, and on their turn, they'll have to go straight to the principal's office and remain there for 1 turn, losing a turn. Each player gets 2 of those. You're only able to use them once each. You will keep moving throughout the school section throughout the course of the entire game, picking up different subjects as you acquire them and learn them. Again, moving between 5 and 7 spaces to go to each one. After the first 3 rounds, then you're able to move to the life section of the game. Here you will move the same colored pawn as you work on acquiring both a higher education and a career. Let's look at the career track first, and then we'll understand how the education builds into that. To start off a career in any section, you will start off only in the red. And you also need to make sure that you have the correct subjects acquired in that. So for instance, if I wanted to start up in the Army, at the private level, I would need to make sure that I had PE, language arts, and history already checked off on my school life score sheet. If I've had that, and if I'm there, then on each turn that I'm in this section, I'll acquire 1 star, which I'll fill in on this circle here. And I'll explain how that works in a little while later. But as you can see, to move up the ranks, you need some higher education. There's 2 routes that you can go. One is to go directly to the training center. This is the green and will allow you to move up into the green section. The other is in the university, which you need to go to eventually. In this track, I'll need to go to one of the universities that has the blue and the purple education levels. Other job tracks will have the pink and the brown. So it's entirely up to you to start, but you need to choose which university you go to based on which job track you think it will be best suited for you and your path to victory. If you go to university, you can move up 1 level each turn that you are there. And you can choose to stop your university career after the first 2 turns and get a 2-year degree, or continue through all 4 and get the full degree. It's entirely up to you. But once you've completed the first 2 levels in blue, you may then qualify for a job at one of the blue levels in one of the careers that is available. But you also, again, have to make sure that you have all the subjects required, not just for the level that you're applying for. Let's say I wanted to go to the head nurse in the hospital. I would need all of the subjects listed here, but also all of the subjects listed below that for all of the entry levels to that. The advantage of moving up the career ladder is that you acquire more stars, and these are important because this is what you need for victory. Each turn that I am here on this job, I would require 4 stars that I fill in on my life circle balance sheet anywhere from the corresponding color ring and inwards. So if I was on this level, I could get 1 star, and I could only fill in those stars here on the innermost circles. As I acquire more skills and more job training, I can fill in the stars in ever-expanding circles, all the way to the outer circle, we can only fill with either the brown or the purple job levels. The game ends when the first player fills in all the stars on their circle. The last thing to be aware of is the start token. This is how this works. At the start of the game, one of the players will receive this, and they will start the round. After the round is finished and every player has taken their turn, then they will pass the start token to their left, and that player who has it will then be the first one to start their round, going around completely, everyone taking their turn, before passing it to the next player, and so on. This ensures that not the same player is starting every round, and that each person has equal access to that. I hope that helps and gives you an overview of how to play the game, and I hope you have fun playing. Thanks for your attention.